Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you week 17 fantasy football waiver wire pickups. That's right, week 17. If you're still playing, we're here to help. We're going to give you all the right decisions on who you should target this week on the waiver wire and who you should probably avoid. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right now.
Championship. Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Football Upside. I am Justin. That is Kyle. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
What a season it's been, Kyle.
Yeah.
So, a majority of leads wrapped up in week 16, but we wanted to give you the upside difference and bring you an extra week of fantasy coverage. And if you've been listening to us and you have a week 17 championship, you made it this far, the final game. So we're going to help you win that championship. And with that, today we're giving you our top waiver wire ads for week 17. Kyle, what you got before we get into it?
Hey guys, we're going to be here all off season. We're going to take a couple weeks off, I think, after this week and just enjoy the regular season or the regular NFL playoffs and a little bit of time before the draft starts. We'll drop a few videos here and there probably, but once the draft happens, we'll probably start picking things back up. And, we ramp our way back up to 5 episodes a week. And we'll be able to help you get ready for your draft next season. We'll have all the goodies and everything, the draft kit, the website, all that stuff roll in by then. So make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so you're notified every time that we upload the podcast. That way, when we come back, you're able to roll with us again. Hopefully we helped you win that Upside Championship this year. Today we're talking about waiver wire players. Again, this is just for week 17, so it's most applicable to week 17, 60% roster or less. If you have any questions about who you should start or sit this week, which there might be a lot of those questions because some teams are going to start sitting guys, make sure that you go ahead and pop a question down below or hit us up on Twitter because we're always asking. All right, guys, let's dive in head first into the shallow end here and hit our top waiver wire pickups for week 17. These are plug and play players right off the bat. Who do we have at running back? Justin, who do you have?
I have A.J. Dillon, Green Bay Packers, of your Green Bay Packers, 8% rostered. Yeah, talk about a breakout game last week for A.J. Let's just go with 21 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, throw in a catch for 5 yards as well.
Yeah.
The dude was just beast mode, man. That guy is a big SOB.
Yeah, he's huge, dude. And he ran he's just pure muscle. That's the scary thing. He looks like Jerome Bettis, but I mean, all respect to Jerome Bettis, and now I could say anything. He was a big dude, but he was a little bit on the fluffy side.
Yeah, he had a little fluff to him.
Yeah. This is insane. This dude's quads.
This is like Derrick Henry 2.0.
Yeah,
what it looks like.
A little bit shorter.
Yeah,
but he went
much though.
4.53.
Yeah,
on that
quicker then.
On that 4th and inches play where he actually ran for a 30-yard touchdown, there was Kenny Vaccaro, the safety, took the wrong angle because he didn't realize that the dude could be that fast. He actually said that after the game. He goes, "I didn't realize a guy that big could be that fast." And it's you have one on your team that you play in practice. What are you talking about?
Right? You should know better.
Yeah.
But so AJ had the opportunity because Jamal Williams was out for this game with a quad injury, and Aaron Jones was kind of in and out of the lineup with a hip injury. I know that was kind of hampering your championship, but you still pulled through.
Yeah.
But the Packers are still playing for the number 1 seeding in the playoffs. So they're still trying to get that bye in the actual NFL playoffs. So, but they also want to make sure the running backs are healthy going in to the playoffs. So I think A.J. Dillon could get a good run here. I mean, let's not forget he was a 2nd-round pick, so high draft pedigree. They're going against the Bears, which isn't really the best because they're 23rd in giving up the points to running back, so it's not a great matchup. But like I said, I like Dillon's chances to get a good amount of workload here. And, the Packers coaching staff has seen him all season long, but it's really good to probably see him on the field playing and doing what he just did.
Yeah, I saw something where they mentioned that they were kind of concerned at how long it took him to get back to game readiness after having had COVID, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So at running back, I'm actually going to go with, and this is scraping the bottom of the barrel here a little bit, guys. This is Darrel Williams. He's 3% rostered. It's a mediocre opportunity on the defensive points allowed to the running back. But look, if you're in a bind and you need somebody to fill in, he could potentially do that for you. Why? Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is done for the regular season. And then you add in that Williams actually got more carries than Le'Veon Bell this last week. He may be the guy to have in this game coming up. So this is a desperation play if you have to make it. But that's why we don't think that you should be playing in leagues that have championships in week 17, except next year, maybe, because they're going to have 17 games. They're extending to week 18. And I think it's week 18. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. I think each team might end up with 2 buys. We'll see how that's going to play out exactly. But you are going to get one more week of fantasy football as a result.
So basically just saying, if you are in a league that plays the last week of the regular season of the NFL, go ahead
and stop it. Just stop it. Yeah. I mean, because they're benching everybody in the Chiefs game. They've already said that. So Mahomes isn't playing. Well, what if Mahomes carried you to the championship, or Tyreek Hill? They're not playing. Travis Kelce, he's probably not playing. I mean, these guys are they're going to get a week off. Then they're going to get a bye. They're going to be completely healthy to go into the playoffs. That's what their aim is. All right. Who do you have at wide receiver?
Wide receiver, I have Michael Gallup, Dallas Cowboys, 44% rostered. Kind of was waiting for a breakout. Yeah, that really helped you out as well on this in a different league, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 120-man league. I might have won. We got to wait and see.
But 8 targets, 6 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week against. I put down here a note of secondary less Eagles, because I don't know if there's really anybody playing back there in the secondary.
No, they just have 4 guys up front, and then it's nothing.
Pretty much. Yeah. But one little note I had here that I was looking up, I was doing some research here. Andy Dalton has actually targeted Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Gallup pretty evenly in the games he has started. I mean, we're talking within 2 or 3 targets. Mm-hmm. So that's something to look out for, this game. But week 5 against the Giants, Gallup had 4 targets, 4 catches, 73 yards, which is actually a decent game for Gallup this year. But the Giants, they only give up the 19th most points to opposing wide receivers, so not the greatest matchup. But I think Amari might be the one that's going to garner that James Bradbury treatment, who, if you guys haven't heard of James Bradbury, man, he came over from Carolina Panthers and has been a great free agent ad for the Giants, and he's been a lockdown corner this year. But one thing, Cowboys are going to be playing to win the game, because they actually have a chance to make the playoffs, everybody. So I know, isn't that just nuts, Kyle? But if Dallas wins and Washington loses or ties,
which is very likely,
or Dallas ties and Washington loses, the Cowboys are in the playoffs.
Wow.
That's just nuts, man.
That's pretty bad.
Who do you got at wide receiver?
At wide receiver, I have, let's see here. I've got, Nelson Agholor, 51% rostered. How about it, right? Big blow up in week 16. He went 5 for 155 and a touchdown on 6 targets. Now, 85 of those yards came on 1 play. And it wasn't like he just got over the top and cleared out. No, he made people miss and all that stuff. He worked his way down there. And that was when was that? There was 4 minutes left in the game or something, maybe a little bit less, because you still had enough time for Josh Jacobs to pull his little game where he double hates the fantasy football community and loses the game for them and all that stuff. So look, we've mentioned Agholor several times on the waiver wire episodes, and we're mentioning him again. If you managed to start him in your league last week, he might have won you your game, or he at least diffused the damage that Alvin Kamara had done to you if you were facing him. He blew up pretty much. This was an unexpected hit. And if you had him in there because for whatever reason, this was not a good opportunity. Miami has a pretty good pass defense, so it's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
And it really boils down to that one big play. So that's huge. But that's who we've got, because, look, it's a thin waiver wire, and you're looking for any upside plays that you can pick up. All right, who do you have at tight end?
Speaking of upside plays, I'm looking at Irv Smith Jr., the tight end out of Minnesota Vikings. He's only 15% rostered, and that has to probably do with the fact that he had a dud in week 15, and that was after a top 3 finish in week 14. And then come around here, week 16 last week, he balled out, man. 9 targets, 6 catches, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
this ad is still kind of dependent on Kyle Rudolph, if he's available or not for week 17 against the Lions. He's been out the last couple of games, but truthfully, I just think the Vikings should just throw anything and everything they have towards Smith Jr. to see what they really have. I mean, he's a second-year tight end. Usually in that second year, tight ends really start to take off, and he's starting to do that here towards the end of the season. Rudolph isn't going anywhere. He actually signed a huge extension, like a 6-year, $30 million, $35 million extension or something like that.
What is wrong with that team?
I don't know. Like, they signed him until the age of 34 for Kyle Rudolph, but it's still one of those things where second-year tight ends, I mean, he can really jump over Kyle Rudolph going into next year. But the Vikings are playing the Lions, 7th toughest against the tight end. But who are we kidding when it comes to the Lions and trying to guard anybody or playing defense? The team's given up.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, they straight up gave up. Yeah. So I think this is a game where I think the Vikings are going to get out a lot of the aggression that they had throughout the season and just whoop up on the Lions.
Yep. All right, at tight end, I've got Zach Ertz. He is 54% rostered. Good old Zach. Zach. He got so each of the last couple of weeks, he's got 7 targets in each of the last 2 weeks. He's not producing touchdowns, but in a season like this for tight ends, that's not the worst thing. You're starting with yardage first and foremost. You're starting with opportunity. You're looking at that sort of stuff. Routes run, Ertz runs routes. I know he's competing with Goddard now, but what you're really kind of hoping for is that he and Hurts, Hurts to Ertz, right? That Jalen Hurts has a connection with him. And I think the 7 targets really says a whole lot about him. Now his yardage has been kind of back and forth in those two outings. So it's not the greatest. And what you're just hoping for is a couple end zone opportunities because Ertz should come down with those. Now, should is a big word here because he wasn't doing that early in the year when he was healthy. And so I think that actually is part of the downfall of Wentz is that very early on, Zach Ertz, his safety blanket, which was the thing carrying him most of his career, fell apart for him. So look, I think that this is an opportunity that you're hoping he's getting some of those shallower throws in the offense moving forward that keeps it moving. And that's what you're going to, I guess, get. I don't know. It's a really tough tight end waiver wire right now. I'm hoping that you did what we suggested several weeks ago and started, if you're in redraft especially, started stacking depth at the positions based on possible matchups that you would have. I know injuries are hard to account for, but we started suggesting that you should be carrying multiples of QB, multiples of tight end, and thinning out your depth at various positions, wide receiver and running back particularly, and getting yourself primed for the playoffs if you could. So, all right, let's hit up QB. What do you have at QB, Justin?
I have Andy Dalton, the Red Rifleman, 13% rostered. And raise your hand if you had Andy Dalton finishing as a top 5 QB in week 16.
I kind of thought he would. I kind of thought he had a good chance. Yeah.
Well,
I thought maybe like a QB1 potentially.
Yeah.
So, but that's about it.
But yeah, he went 22 of 30, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have a pick in there. But week 17, they're going against the Giants. The Cowboys are. I've already kind of mentioned the fact that they can make the playoffs if they win and Washington loses or ties. So, but in week 5, whenever they played the Giants, that's the week actually Dak Prescott broke his ankle, or one ankle was going one way, the other was going the other way, kind of thing. But Dalton came in and actually was 9 for 11 for 111 yards. So he's putting up the yards against the Giants. But I'm looking at the fact that, Andy Dalton has some good weapons when it comes to the wide receivers that we've already talked about. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. He also has Ezekiel Elliott that came back last week, and he actually looked surprisingly spry. I mean, I should say spry for the 2020 version of Zeke Elliott. So I don't know how much that's saying. He did run hard, and he still catches the ball out of the backfield, and that's what we're looking for when it comes to Andy Dalton getting some points here or there. So I think this could be a decent ad for you at QB.
Yeah, I think it could be a surprising one. It's one of those ones that we talked about with like Mitch Trubisky, who's obviously not useful this week going against the Packers.
No.
But on the other end of that, in the NFC North, we have my QB, who I am suggesting picking up, and that's Kirk Cousins. He's 56% rostered. Detroit is giving up the 8th most fantasy points to the QB this year. That's who he's facing this week. And Cousins has kind of been down lately, obviously, right? And he had a bounce back game against New Orleans. So that's a little bit of an upswing. So you're hoping to kind of keep that momentum going, or that he manages to do that. One of the things that it frustrated me because I had Dalvin Cook in our league, and we had Dalvin Cook on our expert league roster. And one of the things that frustrated us was that they just weren't giving Dalvin Cook. I think they had I counted 13 red zone or 13 opportunities within the 5, and they gave him 1 touch. Yep. And the rest of the time it was just Kirk Cousins throwing incompletion after incompletion, hitting guys in the hands, hitting them in the feet, all that stuff, right? Classic Kirk Cousins. But if they're going to give them the opportunity to do it, then you have to assume that they're probably going to continue to do so, because
that's opportunity.
I think that they're maybe second guessing this contract that they gave him, this extension, and they're going to find out maybe if they need to get out of it. So look, this matchup offers a chance for him to get things going in the right direction before the year is over for the Vikings, which is. It is. They might try to rely on the pass more because Dalvin Cook has been a bit banged up, and they don't want to make that any worse. They may not want to run him as much. I think Alexander Madison is still out, so they're kind of stuck with Cook on the field. And so to put him at less risk going forward, which he has, an injury history, I think that they're considering using Cousins' arm a lot more. So that's kind of where they're going. All right, guys. So that's going to do it here for waiver wires for the season and for week 17. That's right.
Dang.
I made it through the season, Justin.
Made it.
Can you believe it? All right, guys. Like I said before, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell. I'm going to throw onto the screen other waiver wire episodes, the week 16 one as well. It's not as relevant, obviously, because some of these guys are probably or possibly out. I mean, we did have Jalen Hurts in there. We had Mitch Trubisky as well. We also had Rashard Higgins, but that was before the entire wide receiver group got COVID. All right. Well, they had a COVID exposure to a linebacker. Weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, I didn't think linebackers and wide receivers intertwine. That just doesn't make any sense.
They must have had him in the room to talk about like routes or anything like that. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Anyway, I will make sure to put waiver wire 16 week 16 episode on the screen here for you. And like I said before, hit that subscribe button, click the bell, make sure you stay around and hang around with us during the off season. We'll talk about some inane fantasy football, stupid stuff. We do a lot more like topical stuff with football in general during the off season as well. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See you.